In today's video, we're gonna be talking about how to create products that people actually want to buy. Now, if you've already been a client of mine, you've already heard me say this before, but I firmly believe that there are two reasons why somebody would purchase your apparel. The first, somebody will buy your apparel because they want to use it to shape their identity. And what that means is that your apparel is so synonymous with a group, a niche, or a community that your customer can purchase your apparel to associate closely to that community. The second reason why I believe somebody would actually purchase your apparel is because it has value. Now, we're gonna dive into that in a little bit, but first, let's look at an example. If you want an example of a company that's doing a great job at this, just look at Vans. They've become so synonymous with the skateboarding culture that their customers can buy their products and use those products to tie their identity to skateboarding. Another key thing to remember about people trying to use your apparel to shape their identity is they want to use your apparel to shape their identity in the desired way, right? So if your apparel associates with maybe a higher class of community members or a higher status within your niche, well, your apparel is gonna hold much more value to them. And they're gonna do a lot more to obtain that apparel. The second reason somebody will buy your apparel is because it has value. Now, to define the value that I'm talking about, we have to think about it as two separate ideas. Your apparel can either have inherited value or built value. Let me be specific. If your clothing line has value and it's inherited, that means you took value from something else and you embedded it into your apparel. Examples of this might be licensing, collabs, trends, clout. You basically took something else that has value in people's eyes and you put it into your apparel. Then people are gonna buy your apparel because it has that value embedded into it. One of the ways that you can do this is by collabing with artists on the internet. So say that you follow somebody online and they're great artists, right? You strike up a deal with them where you take their art, you put it into their apparel, and then you sell that apparel. Whatever you want to negotiate between you and the artist is up to you. But the point that I'm trying to illustrate is that it's possible to collab with an existing artist who already has value in their art with their followers and their market and put it into your apparel to then give you inherited value. Another way of building value into your brand is by building it up manually. And it's a very difficult thing to do because it requires years of time, money, and execution. And a lot of people will look at larger brands and they'll very easily misunderstand what that means. They'll think that having value in your brand is built up by presenting it in a certain way and maybe pricing it in a certain way. And although those things do contribute to it, the real value for most of these brands doesn't lie in the final presentation of their apparel. It lies in their actions. What did they do to even build up a certain value in your mind of that brand? What did they do over the years with marketing and millions of dollars worth of execution to make you believe that they're worth any amount of money? So even though you can present yourself in the exact same way as some of these larger brands, you have to take into account that they have value because of years of execution and marketing. A very good example of this is Nike. They've spent millions of dollars every single year on marketing so that you would think and you would believe that their brand has a certain amount of value so that when they release apparel, you translate that value into that apparel. So think of all of the marketing campaigns you've seen for Nike, all of the millions of dollars worth of endorsements that they've put out to famous athletes around the world, all of the events that they've sponsored, any association that they've made between them and other very expensive things. That's exactly how Nike has established value in your mind. It's very difficult sometimes to compete with them, but if you niche down, if you go after very targeted markets where you have an easier chance to build value in their mind, you can compete with them on a very small niche down scale. The way that you can start applying this to your clothing line is by asking yourself, am I creating products that people actually want to buy? Now, start answering some of those questions yourself. First off, ask yourself, is my product going to help my customers shape their identity around a certain group or niche or community? And if the answer is yes, well then you're already making progress. The second question you want to ask yourself is, does my product actually carry any value? If the answer is no, then incorporate it, and you already know how. You can either inherit it or start building it. Honestly, and to be very truthful with you, if you're just starting off your clothing line, you definitely want to start off with some form of value in the beginning. Any way that you can inherit value in the beginning is going to be very beneficial for you if you're trying to pick up new customers and get new followers right off the bat. If you don't want to inherit it and you really don't want to associate yourself with anything outside of your brand, well then you're gonna have to start building now. Start building by creating things that your niche and your community finds valuable. Associate yourself as close as you can to that value and then project that constantly. Market it, have it as visible as possible so that over time, your target market begins to say, hey, that clothing line is so synonymously associated with what I value in this niche that I can consider them one and the same. And that's when you're gonna start seeing sales, because what they're really buying from you is all of the value you've built up over time.